Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining us from. And welcome to today's low flow anesthesia virtual demo. Before I welcome Frederick to the floor here, I just wanted to cover a few housekeeping notes to help you get the most out of your experience today. So first, if you take a look at the right side of your screen, you'll see an interactivity panel with 4 tabs: chat, Q&A, polls, and handouts. We want this to be an interactive experience for you, so please send your questions, thoughts, and comments using that Q&A tab, and we'll try to address as many of them as we can at the end of the demo today. When a question is added into that Q&A panel, you can upvote that question to increase its position on my list by clicking a thumbs up button underneath it. And this is helpful for me so I know which questions to address first. And so if someone has the same question as you, or a question that you didn't know that you had, but once you read it, you thought, oh, I have that question too, just click that thumbs up button. You can also check out the handouts tab to learn a little bit more about some of the products that you'll see today, and there's a link in there as well. And lastly, if you're having any technical issues, just try refreshing your browser. This usually tends to fix things, but if it doesn't, please try to access this event using Google Chrome, as it's the most stable browser. And if you've done all of that and you're still having trouble, you can reach out to me using the private chat function to communicate your issue by chatting to Sarah, that's me, and I can help to troubleshoot for you. All right, and so I'm very pleased to welcome Frederick to the floor. Fred, take it away whenever you're ready.
All right, will do. Hello, everybody. My name is Frederick, and I am a regional sales and support representative for Kent Scientific based in San Diego. First off, thank you for taking the time to hang out with me during this webinar and giving me the opportunity to speak to you. A huge thank you also to Sarah and Sydney from Inside Scientific for all their help in putting together this webinar and making everything run as smoothly as possible. So today, I will be speaking to you about the Somno Suite and Somno Flow systems, which are the low-flow electronic vaporizer anesthesia systems from Kent Scientific. Although they are 2 different systems with their own unique benefits and features, both use innovative technology to provide anesthesia precisely and safely. So both the Somno Suite and Somno Flow low-flow electronic vaporizer systems provide advantages over traditional high-flow vaporizers. The anesthetic concentration and flow rate delivery is based on the animal's weight. Traditional canister-style vaporizers contain wicks, dials, and other moving parts that need to be calibrated and recertified to maintain accuracy. But both the Somno Suite and Somno Flow use solid-state electronics to ensure accuracy and do not require any annual recertification. This precise delivery ensures both animal and user safety. Another benefit of these systems is that they allow you to use either compressed or ambient air as your carrier gas. This is a great feature to have, especially if your procedures do not require oxygen, you might lack the space needed for gas tanks, or you get tired of people stealing your gas tanks and leaving them empty on you. So now we'll go into talking about the Somno Suite. The Somno Suite itself is a compact low-flow anesthesia system that uses a precision syringe pump to deliver precise amounts of anesthesia. It measures 11 inches length by 8 inches deep and 3 inches high, weighs around 4 pounds, making the system very light and portable, which allows you to set it up either on a bench top or in a hood. As mentioned previously, its integrated electronic vaporizer can use either ambient air or compressed gas to deliver anesthesia based on the animal's weight. There we go. Because of the low flow rate of the system, you can save on the amount of anesthetic and compressed gas used over time. Since small amounts of anesthetic is being used, the waste gas exposure is reduced for the users. All Somno Suites are equipped with the Right Temp module, which is a temperature monitoring and homeothermic control that uses far infrared warming. But you can also outfit your Somno Suite with additional physiological modules depending on your needs. And we'll talk more about this soon. The Somno Suite has an intuitive touchscreen control. Both the flow rate and anesthesia percentage are displayed in large numbers along the top. And on the screen there. Along the top are tabs for additional modules that can be added. You push the remove button for when you need to fill your syringe. The glass syringe itself is filled with the anesthetic, such as isoflurane. And you have your prime button, which is used for preparing the pusher block to deliver the anesthesia. When you are ready to anesthetize your animal, you will touch the deliver button to deliver the anesthesia, plus either the nose cone or the induction buttons to turn on the flow. Both the nose cone and induction buttons can be preset in the setup tab. When you are ready to remove the animal from the induction chamber, the flush button will add a layer of air with no anesthesia to reduce waste gas exposure. Now, I've been hinting at it the past few slides, but you are probably thinking, but Frederick, what are the other modules that we can add to the Somno suite? Well, here they are. The right temp module, as I mentioned before, is our module for homeothermic warming, and it is included with the Somno suite at no additional cost. The mouse stat module is used for heart rate and pulse oximetry. The Rovent is for ventilation, and the CapnoScan module is for end-tidal CO2 monitoring. Depending on your needs, you can add as many or as little of these modules as you want, making the Somno suite a pretty nifty all-in-one tool for you to use. So now I will go ahead and play you a quick video about the Somno suite. So here we go, and enjoy.
Kent Scientific's low-flow electronic vaporizers offer numerous benefits compared to traditional vaporizer systems. Both the SomnoFlow and SomnoSuite systems offer high precision, increased safety for personnel and animals, and significant annual cost savings. With an electronic touchscreen interface, both systems allow precise control of anesthetic output to 0.1%. Traditional vaporizers rely on passive vaporization of anesthetics and require minimum flow rates and annual calibration services to maintain their accuracy. The SomnoSuite and SomnoFlow systems are programmed with a gram-to-mole conversion of liquid anesthetic. The system automatically determines the volume of anesthetic required to reach the desired concentration in the carrier gas stream. Because anesthetic delivery is mathematically driven and there are no wicks or gaskets to service, no annual calibration or certifications are required. Both of our Somno low-flow electronic vaporizers can be connected to a compressed gas source, but neither require the use of compressed gas to deliver inhalant anesthetics. Their included internal pump draws in ambient air, giving users the option to anesthetize animals in settings where gas tanks are not available or not feasible to use. The SomnoSuite is designed as an all-in-one modular surgical solution and can be programmed with integrated warming, pulse oximeter, ventilator, and capnography capabilities. This eliminates the need for multiple controllers and separate computers in the surgical suite.
This protocol highlights best uses for an all-inclusive anesthesia and physiological monitoring suite that includes a low-flow electronic vaporizer, an integrated ventilator, a pulse oximeter, and a far-infrared warming pad.
Kent Scientific's Somno electronic vaporizers have several advantages over traditional anesthesia systems, including an integrated internal pump, increased precision, less waste gas, and no annual maintenance requirements. For more information about the SomnoFlow and SomnoSuite systems, please contact your local Kent Scientific representative.
All right. Hopefully you enjoyed that video. Let's see. All right, so now I will take you through some various SomnoSuite system setups. Here we go. The diagram insert displays a typical setup with an induction chamber and a face mask using the 2 accessory adapter. The anesthesia outlet, marked in blue, is the inspiratory line. This line comes from the vaporizer block and splits into 2 branches, each into either the induction chamber or the mask. Leading out from both the induction chamber and the mask is the expiratory line and marked in red. This line passively carries waste gases to the WAG canister. If you choose to connect your SomnoSuite to compressed gas, the incoming pressure from the gas tank must not be higher than 15 psi in order for the SomnoSuite to work properly. In the small diagram, A preset pressure reducer is connected between the compressed gas tank and the Somno suite to bring the pressure down to 15 psi. If you do choose to use compressed gas, we are more than happy to discuss your setup with you. This diagram shows how a 3 accessory adapter can be used to connect to the Somno suite. In this case, we have 1 induction chamber and 2 face masks. So now you have an additional station to work from. For studies and procedures utilizing a ventilator, this diagram shows how you can connect the Somno suite to a standalone ventilator, such as our RoVent system. And if you are performing stereotaxic surgeries, the Somno suite can also interface with your stereotaxic frames using either the 2 or 3 accessory adapter as well. All right, so now we're going to move on and chat about the SomnoFlow. So the SomnoFlow from Kent Scientific is, again, a standalone compact anesthesia delivery system that, again, utilizes either ambient air or compressed gas as a carrier for the anesthesia. The SomnoFlow measures 6 inches length by 6 inches wide and about 9 inches high and weighs around 5 pounds. Again, this makes it easy to transport and set up anywhere, such as your benchtop or in a hood. Unlike the Somno suite, the SomnoFlow sources the anesthesia directly from the bottle and primes automatically, allowing you to start your procedures soon after powering on the system. Like the Somno suite, the SomnoFlow gives you the choice to use either ambient air or compressed gas as your carrier for the anesthesia. The SomnoFlow achieves a flow rate as low as 100 mils per minute, matching closer to the minute volume of a mouse compared to traditional vaporizers. This leads to less waste gas exposure and increases safety to the users, while decreasing the amount of anesthesia and waste gas filters used over time. The SomnoFlow does not rely on the wick delivery system as seen in traditional vaporizers, and because of this, there is no need for annual calibration or certification, cutting down on your yearly costs associated with these. So now I'm going to play you a quick video about the SomnoFlow. And here we go.
This video will provide the instructions necessary to set up and begin using the Kent Scientific SomnoFlow low-flow electronic vaporizer. We'll take you through setup requirements, equipment use, and a protocol for anesthetizing an average-size C57 BL6 mouse. Along the way, we'll highlight some of the features that will benefit you in your research. Setup instructions are also provided in the user's guide. To begin setting up the SomnoFlow, connect the inspiratory portion of the 2 accessory connector to the SomnoFlow's port labeled out. Connect the inspiratory portion of the face mask tubing to one branch and the inspiratory chamber tubing to the other branch. Connect the expiratory portion of the 2 accessory connector to the expiratory tubing on the chamber and nose cone. If using a stereotaxic frame, select one of the included stereotaxic adapters to attach to the 2 accessory connectors on the ports of your stereotaxic gas anesthesia mask. Attach the charcoal canister using the charcoal canister tubing. The SomnoFlow can deliver anesthesia without the need for compressed gas. If you're using ambient air from the system's internal pump, leave the air inlet open. If you wish to use a compressed gas source, use the compressed gas assembly to connect a pressure-regulated gas source to the SomnoFlow's compressed gas port. The inlet pressure should not exceed 15 psi. Connect the included bottle top adapter to a bottle of anesthetic. Connect the delivery tubing to the bottle top adapter and place the anesthetic bottle into the holder. Turn on the SomnoFlow to begin the automatic priming sequence. The system will draw anesthetic directly from the bottle and prepare the system for delivery. Once priming is complete, touch Menu to enter the preset settings. There are 3 presets available to save your preferred settings. Low flow is best used for anesthetic maintenance, high flow is best used for induction, and purge is best used to reduce excess anesthetic in the induction chamber. The SomnoFlow will save all of your settings, but you can return to this menu at any time to adjust the preset options. Even though you have entered flow rates and anesthetic concentrations for each phase, you can still adjust these parameters during anesthesia delivery from the run screen. Now that your tubing is set up and settings are saved, you're ready to begin anesthetizing an animal. Adjust the clips to direct airflow to the induction chamber. Place the animal in the induction chamber and touch high flow. The SomnoFlow will begin delivery at the settings you've selected in your high flow presets. Use the dials to make adjustments to the flow rate or anesthetic concentration as needed. When the animal is fully anesthetized, touch high flow again to stop delivery. If desired, purge the chamber using the purge feature. Remove the animal from the chamber and position on the nose cone. Be sure to adjust the clips to direct the airflow to the nose cone. Touch low flow to resume anesthetic delivery. When you're finished with the procedure, touch low flow again to stop delivery and recover the animal. When you're finished using the system for the day, touch Menu, Anesthetic Control, and Empty to empty the anesthetic from the SomnoFlow. Once complete, you may remove the anesthetic bottle from the system. Remove the bottle top adapter and replace the manufacturer's cap onto the anesthetic bottle.
All right, hopefully you enjoyed that video. Okay, so we will continue on. Here we go. All right, so now I will take you through some various SomnoFlow system setups. This diagram displays a typical setup with an induction chamber and a face mask using the 2 accessory adapter. The anesthesia outlet, again, marked in blue, is the inspiratory line. This line comes directly from the SomnoFlow and splits into 2 branches, either leading to the induction chamber or the face mask. Leading out from the induction chamber and the mask is the expiratory line and marked in red. This line passively carries waste gases to the WAG canister. Similar to the Somno suite, if you choose to connect your SomnoFlow to compressed gas, the incoming pressure from the compressed gas tank must not be higher than 15 psi in order for the SomnoFlow to work properly. In the smaller diagram, a preset pressure reducer is connected between the compressed gas tank and the SomnoFlow to bring the pressure down to 15 psi. If you do choose to use compressed gas, again, we are more than happy to discuss your setup with you. This diagram shows how a 3 accessory adapter can be used to connect to the SomnoFlow to 1 induction chamber and 2 face masks. Again, you'll now have an additional station to work from. And if you need to use a ventilator, this diagram shows how you can connect the SomnoFlow to a standalone ventilator system, such as our RowVent. There we go. And if you are performing stereotaxic surgeries, the SomnoFlow can also interface with your stereotaxic frames. And here we have the 2 accessory adapters showing how that connection is made. So throughout this presentation, you have seen the features and benefits of both of our low flow anesthesia systems. They are simple to use and are able to deliver precise amounts of anesthesia. The safety benefit of the Somno suite and SomnoFlow comes from the small amounts of anesthetic being used. Using less anesthetic produces less anesthetic gases, leading to greater safety to both your animals and the operators. And yeah, so there we go.
Great, thanks.
Might blanked for a second.
I'll jump in here. Before we get to the Q&A session, there are a few polls that I want to run. So Frederick, I'm going to let you catch your breath and grab a sip of water. And I'm going to launch these polls. So the first polling question that we have for you is, what physiological parameters do you currently monitor during your surgeries? So there's a couple options there. And you should be able to select those. It's a multi-select, so you should be able to select all the ones that apply to you. And while you're answering that, I will introduce the next polling question. Before I do that, if you don't have a chance to answer that just yet, you can go into your polling tab, and all of the polls that are available to answer will be in there. So if you haven't answered it yet, it'll be in there for you. So the next question here is, which anesthetic do you usually use? So that will come up now. So there's isoflurane, sevoflurane, and injectable options there for you. And our last poll is, do you regularly find the need to provide supplemental oxygen during your surgeries? So there's 3 options there: always, sometimes, and rarely. So this is specific to the type of procedure that you're doing and your IACUC approvals and all of the things involved in all of your surgery procedures. Okay, and while you guys are answering those, I'm going to make sure that Frederick is still connected. Perfect. And we're going to kick off our Q&A if you're ready, Frederick.
Ready as I will ever be.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, there's lots of questions here. So the first question on my list here is, when ambient air is used rather than compressed oxygen, are there any physiological effects? Is recovery time affected?
Okay, when ambient air is used rather than compressed oxygen, is recovery time affected? All right, thank you, Sean. Hi, Sean. Nice to meet you. So when ambient air is used rather than compressed oxygen, are there any physiological effects? So to my knowledge, there are no physiological effects or any differences between using ambient air and compressed oxygen. A lot of our customers end up switching to the SomnoFlow because they like the fact that you can use ambient air. And as far as I know, we haven't had any, or they haven't experienced any issues when doing that switch. Recovery time affected shouldn't affect your recovery time at all. With isoflurane, they tend to recover pretty quickly once you remove them from the isoflurane. And no matter if you're using their compressed gas or ambient air, it shouldn't really affect that at all. So, cool.
Okay, fantastic. Next question here is from Philip. The question is, can you interface the vaporizer with another ventilator that is not a row vent?
Okay, let's see. Thank you, Philip. Can you interface the vaporizer with another ventilator? Yes, you definitely can. You can use something like our row vent, or if you have another type, you're more than welcome to connect that to our Somno systems. If you go to our website, we actually have our user manuals available for you to look at. You could just go to our website and go under, I believe it's resources. And if you look for the user manuals, you could look under the look for the row vent manual. And there you could download the manual and look at how all the different, how the setup is with all the different tubings. But if after that you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me or your sales rep, and then we'll discuss how you can make that connection with your ventilator.
Perfect. Okay. The next question here is, can I replace the plastic clips with plastic stopcocks?
Gotcha. Hello, Anne. Hi, Anne. Good to see you. Can you replace the plastic clips with plastic stopcocks? There certainly is nothing stopping you from doing so. I did have a customer who mentioned to me that they did do that and they preferred themselves to use a stopcock instead of the plastic clips. So yeah, that is definitely possible for you.
Okay, great. Next question here from Elle is it possible to have anesthesia flowing to both the induction chamber and the nose cone at the same time using the Somno Suite system, as there's two different buttons for it?
Yep. Okay. So yeah. Hi, Elle. Nice to meet you. Is it possible to have the anesthesia flowing to both the induction chamber and nose cone using two different buttons? Okay, so on the Somno Suite, and as well as the Somno Flow, we have the two different buttons for either the high flow or the low flow, or for your induction chamber and your face mask. So all that those buttons do is they act as presets for your the flow rate that you assign to it. So you could go into the setup menu and assign a flow rate to each of those buttons. So in terms of being able to, sorry, let me get back to your question. In terms of being able to have the anesthesia flowing to both the induction chamber and nose cone at the same time, all you would do is just keep the clips open on the two accessory connector. We have just one flow coming out from the system, and all it is just diverting that flow that you have on to both either your face mask or your anesthesia, and your induction chamber. So all you would need to do is just keep both clips open, and that same flow coming out from the system will go to both at the same time.
Okay, perfect. Next question here is from Jackie. Can you use the system for both mice and rats or just mice? And this is applicable to the Somno Flow.
Okay, gotcha. Hello, Jackie. Nice to meet you. Yes, you can use the Somno Flow for both mice and rats. We actually do sell starter kits that include different face mask sizes that range from a small size for mask up to larger size face mask for larger animals such as the rats. We also sell different size induction chambers, so you could have little tiny ones for like a single mouse or two really small mice at a time, up to a larger chamber size, like 4 liters, I believe, that can hold your larger animals.
Okay, great. I've got another question here. How can I determine the correct flow rate of the gas or compressed air?
Okay, so let's see, of the gas. So I believe, hello, Federico. Oh, my name's Frederick. So anyway, how can I determine the right flow rate of the gas or compressed air? I believe this might be a question pertaining to your compressed air or gas that is being used as your carrier for the isoflurane. If so, the only thing that I can let you know is that basically on your compressed gas tanks, your regulators usually are set to either 50 or 100 PSI. That will be too high to connect to the Somno Flow or the Somno Suite. So you would have to purchase one of our preset pressure reducers to drop that PSA down to 15. So that way when it interfaces, so that way both the Somno Suite and Somno Flow can work properly. Anything higher than that will not let it work properly. So hopefully I answered that correctly for you.
Perfect. All right. I can answer this one just really quickly. There's a question here from David asking if the video link is available online. He's referring to the Somno Flow video. David, yes, this video is available online. If you go to your handouts tab, there is a link to the Kent Scientific Video Library, and you'll be able to access both of the videos shown today in that library. Okay, next question is from Genevieve. She's asking, do you have good SpO2 levels with ambient air?
Okay. Hello, Genevieve. Thank you for your question. So let's see. Do you have good SpO2 level with ambient air? So again, as far as I know, the SpO2 levels with ambient air do not necessarily drop with using ambient air. The customers that I've interacted with haven't had any issues with that. I believe that as you do longer procedures as you do perform longer procedures, your SpO2 levels will start dropping. And I believe that is a good time when a few PIs and researchers will introduce the compressed gas just to kind of support the SpO2 levels for those longer procedures. With smaller, shorter procedures, SpO2 levels, as far as I know, are not affected. What I can do, if you can reach out to us and we can try and find you some papers. I believe we might have some references that look at SpO2 levels with ambient air. I do not recall any off the top of my head, but we can definitely try and help find that information for you.
Okay, and I did put Frederick's contact info up on the screen there, so you can email Frederick directly as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the next question here is, in order to refill the isoflurane syringe during the experiment, do you need to go through the whole procedure of purging and refilling? Can a refill be done while an animal is under anesthesia?
Yep. Thank you, Nick, for your question. So in terms of refilling the isoflurane syringe during the experiment, so you do not need to go through the whole procedure of purging and refilling. You can do a refill while an animal is under anesthesia. What I've seen some labs do to kind of minimize the amount of time it takes for you to remove the syringe, refill it, they'll have if they know that they're going to be running low, they'll have a second glass syringe on standby, just pre-filled with isoflurane. So that way they could stop the system, remove the syringe, pop on the new one real fast, and then continue on.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. Okay. Lots of questions here, so I'm going to keep going, but thank you everyone for submitting, and keep them coming if you have them. So this question is, how would we connect an oxygen concentrator?
Yep. So our Giro, hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. Thank you for your question. So yes, we can definitely, you can connect an oxygen concentrator to either of the systems. We do have diagrams that show you how the oxygen concentrator is attached. If I remember correctly, basically you would attach your oxygen concentrator tubing to the ambient air port, but we also have like a secondary, I guess, overflow line that kind of vents out to the environment, just to kind of match the pressure of the surrounding environment. And again, feel free to contact me, and I could send you that diagram to show you how that works.
Perfect. All right. We've got another question here from Jackie again. Can you use the SomnoFlow and Somno Suite with an automatic scavenging system, or just with a canister?
All right, excellent question, Jackie. So because both our SomnoFlow and Somno suites are passive, we do not recommend using an automatic scavenging system. So with our systems, we just supply the canister that you connect, and basically through passive pushing, it will just filter through the carbon filter. If you do decide to use some sort of active scavenging, you will need to play around with your flow rate settings, because it's such low flow, that extra pulling from whatever is going on around the room or in the environment or whatnot, that'll affect the flow rate of your animals. So just kind of keep that in mind.
Okay, perfect. All right, we've got another question here about this mask options for stereotaxic systems. Okay. So I think did you show a slide of that, Frederick? I can't remember.
Yeah, let me go back. So. Oh, there's one right here.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. So we show the mask options for use on a stereotaxic tooth bar. So with, Hi, David. Nice to meet you. Thank you for your question. So with the stereotaxic systems, we actually do not provide any masks that, for this specific stereotaxic tooth bar face mask. We do provide adapters that will allow you to connect the inspiratory and expiratory lines from the Somno suite, or from the Somno system, to your inlet ports for your stereotaxic system. So again, we don't provide the masks specifically, but we do provide adapters that will hopefully connect to your stereotaxic setup.
Okay, perfect. And I think I read somewhere also that it connects with like several of the common stereotaxic systems.
Correct. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Maybe a complicated question from Dana. I'm still going to ask it, but what are the basic parameters to determine the best system for our applications?
Okay. Hello, Dina. Thank you for your question. So what are the basic parameters to determine the best system for our applications? This one we might have to talk to you in a little bit more detail about, just in terms of what type of procedures you're performing, what kind of applications. One thing that I will say is that between the SomnoFlow and the Somno Suite, you'll notice that the SomnoFlow only does anesthesia. That was its main purpose. It's just to provide anesthesia. Whereas with the Somno Suite, it does the anesthesia, that's its main function, but with the additional modules, depending on what your applications and what your procedures require, you can add those on as well, such as the SpO2 monitoring, end-tidal CO2 monitoring, ventilation as well. What's also neat about the Somno Suite is that it automatically comes with the right temp module. So it comes with a far infrared warming pad when you purchase it. So that's kind of a nice little bonus when you purchase one. So again, feel free to reach out to us, and then we'll be able to kind of discuss in more detail about what you're looking for, and then hopefully we'll get you matched up to one of our systems.
Okay, perfect. All right. There's a question here from Leslie. I missed the ambient air answer. Is it possible to add oxygen to the system somehow?
Yes. Hello, Leslie. Thanks for your question. Yeah, no worries. So yes, both the SomnoFlow and the Somno Suite can utilize either compressed gas, such as your O2 tank, or ambient air. The one big thing to really keep in mind is that when you're using the compressed gas tank, the incoming pressure to both the Somno Suite and SomnoFlow must not exceed 15 psi. So you will need to purchase a preset pressure reducer to connect between your compressed gas tank and the Somno system to drop the PSI down to 15.
Okay, perfect. Just looking for my question. It moved on me. There it is. Okay. Another question from Jackie. Can you only use the Kent Scientific induction chambers and circuits, or can you connect any current options that you have to the SomnoFlow?
Gotcha. Thank you again, Jackie. And thank you, Sarah KS. I was like, what's a KS induction? Kent Scientific. Let's see. Yeah, so with the chambers and circuits, you are certainly welcome to use whatever induction chambers you have. You'll just most likely need to provide the proper connectors that will connect the tubing to your specific chamber. So if you reach out to us, we can give you the dimensions of those tubings and connectors, and we can go from there.
Okay, perfect. Have another question here from Samantha. Is the Rovent a separate unit from the Somno Suite? Do they work together, or can you buy the Somno Suite with the Rovent integrated?
Gotcha. Hello, Samantha. Nice to meet you, and thank you for your question. So we actually have the Rovent available in a few different options. So you are correct. We do offer the Rovent as a standalone separate unit from the Somno Suite that you can connect to the Somno Suite shown in one of the diagrams that I showed previously. Or you could purchase the Somno Suite with the Rovent module included. So that way both the Somno Suite itself will have the anesthesia capability and the ventilator capability in one system.
Okay, perfect. And this might be our last question here. Can you have more than one animal on a mask with the SomnoFlow? Would you need to double the flow?
Gotcha. All right. Thanks again for your question. So can you have more than one animals to mask with the SomnoFlow? Yep, you can definitely have more than one animal attached. So I'm going to go back to a couple slides just to show you how that looks like. Here we go. So similar with the Somno Suite, instead of having a 2 accessory connector, we have a 3 accessory connector here. So in this configuration, the branch coming out from the SomnoFlow splits into 3 separate branches, one going to the induction chamber and the other 2 going to other face masks. So from here, theoretically, you could also just branch out even more by using more of our accessory connectors. Would you need to double the flow? So if you think about the flow rate, a mouse's minute volume, let's say on average, is about 30 mils per minute. So with if you have one mouse that you're working on, you would need at minimum about 30 mils per minute to kind of keep that animal going. And so as you add more mice, you'll have to think about, okay, now 2 mice will need at least 6 mils per minute, or 60 mils per minute. 3 mice, then you need 3 times 30 is 90 mils per minute. So with the Somnoflow, the minimum flow rate that it can reach is 100 mils per minute. So even if you have 2-3 mice, the 100 mils per minute should be sufficient for you to keep them anesthetized. Of course, there are factors you'll have to keep in mind, such as any environmental airflow that might affect the flow rate, or just your setup as well. So you'll need to just, using as a baseline of 30 mils per minute per mouse, you kind of adjust your flow rate accordingly.
Perfect. Okay. We've got another question here. Oh, it's kind of related to the 2 animal thing.
Okay.
With 2 animals on the system, do you have the opportunity to control the 2 masks separately, like the flow rate to both masks?
Okay. Hello, Nikolai. Thank you for your question. So with 2 animals on the system, you do not have the opportunity to control flow separately to 2 masks. That is correct, because the Somnoflow and Somnospeed, one system, one flow rate to all the branches that are coming out. So we don't have any separate flow rate capabilities for each individual animal or mask.
Okay. Yeah. The only thing you can really do is like close the clip.
Correct. Yeah.
To stop the flow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. There's a couple questions in here about imagery for the different setups. And I did not have the answer to this one on the top of my head, but Frederick, you might. Like the image shown on the screen right now with the 2 animal setup, are these images published anywhere for our audience to find on the Kent website?
Yes. So when you go to our website, kentscientific.com, you can go up to the tab at the very top, resources, and hover over the resources tab, and then scroll down, and you'll see another link for product, user guides, and instructions. When you click that, it'll take you to a list of all of our products, and basically just click on the system you're interested in, and it will pull up the user manual for you. And then once you do that, it'll download as a PDF on your web browser, and you could kind of flip through to look at these various images.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Frederick.
Yeah,
All right. So that's the last question we have now. It doesn't mean that we're going to stop. I do have some exciting things to share with you all. So I wanted to mention the first one is actually a promotion that's being run right now. So I'm going to pop that up on your screen. And this promotion is on surgical platforms. So if you're interested in upgrading or expanding your surgical stations, this will be something of interest to you. And you can click that click here button to take you to the Kent Scientific website where you can learn a little bit more about that promo. And the second thing I wanted to mention while people are still typing questions in is that Kent Scientific is sponsoring a workshop. So this workshop is coming out on your screen right now. It's a surgical workshop for microvascular surgery, and there's going to be 8 sessions running in 2023. So if you're interested in honing your vascular surgical skills in rodents, you can take a look at that program. And yeah, the course is taught at Columbia University Medical Center in New York. So right downtown, like Upper West Side of Manhattan. And you can click that button on your screen to learn a little bit more about the offerings, the cost, and when the sessions are running. So just wanted to share that with you while we waited for a couple more questions to come in. Let me just look through the list here. There is a question here, Frederick, about oxygen versus ambient air again. And just like the advantages and disadvantages and the benefit of both options to the animal, if you wanted to kind of cover that again. You're muted.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Sorry, so what was the question again? It was...
It's about the benefits to the animal for oxygen versus ambient air.
Oh, yep, definitely. Okay, so yeah, so the main difference between using the ambient air and the compressed gas is that if you're doing longer procedures, let's say more than 3-4 hours, the SpO2 levels might be dropping, and then so using a compressed gas such as oxygen will help supplement that for your longer surgeries. Otherwise, for shorter surgeries, there really is no difference between using either ambient air or compressed gas. I've run into customers who use, compressed gas for short-term procedures. They work. I have other customers who stay with ambient air for those shorter procedures as well, and everything is going fine for them as well. So.
Okay, perfect. Well, I don't see any more questions rolling in, so I wanted to take this time to thank you, Frederick, for your awesome presentation, your expertise, and it was really a pleasure to have you with us, so I hope that you enjoyed your time.
Awesome, I did. Thank you so much.
Okay, perfect. And I also wanted to thank our audience for being here live. We hope that you enjoyed your experience today. We know that you have busy schedules, so we really appreciate you being here and your feedback in your questions and the polls today. In closing, we hope that you enjoyed this Inside Scientific virtual demo produced in partnership with Kent Scientific, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks.